What do you think about vibe coding? Is this bullshit or
It's
real?
fantastic. So I vibe code. So I had my own company for 10 years. I had a company called Moth and Seif Modular, and I did all the coding, all the soldering, all the programming and everything before I met Dan. And one of my biggest problems and hurdles is that in the process of running the company, it was always very difficult for me to learn new things and to push myself and learn new DSP because of the time commitment for those things. So I was always being held back from the day-to-day sort of operations of things. And when Claude came around and we were talking about this, I have computer science knowledge and I know enough about programming that this is not me just blindly doing stuff, but the entire process has now moved to vibe coding, where I'm very comfortable with audio theory and the kind of physics of everything. I have a background in mixing and mastering and music production, and the technical knowledge, but where I lack is inside the black box, like the exact mathematical formula to write a low pass filter, for instance, or a reverb algorithm. So I could never get that far down. So what this allows me to do with Claude, this module, the leveling EQ amplifier, which is my first design for 4MS, was entirely written in vibe code.
Really?
Yeah, and the final firmware that's on here is not just the output of Claude, but all of the design and the creative process where I was spending all of my time listening and adjusting and making adjustments, that was all vibe coding. And once I got it to where I wanted it and to where it sounded really good, we then took it in for code review and we did unit tests, and we did optimization. And in the process of that, it's actually kind of incredible because I've been learning much more about computer science and embedded development from Dan, because I have a working example of code, and Dan's like, oh, you know what? That's actually really inefficient. Like, let me show you how to do this. Like, that's expensive math. You should use a lookup table for that. Like, don't use clamp, use stood clamp because it's less intensive on this chip. And all these like little idiosyncrasies about optimization that I wouldn't know because I didn't even have working code that I wrote to then further optimize. So in my personal opinion, and this is not a reflection of 4MS, this is just me as a human being, I think it doesn't matter what tools you use to achieve an end goal, and it doesn't matter if you fully understand what those tools are doing to achieve that end goal, and you should always start with getting something done and then figure out how to make it better. And then in the process of making it better, you learn then, and you get into the idiosyncrasies of things then, and you start to really get under the hood with everything. So for me, I know a lot of people talk about vibe coding in a way of like, it's just automating stuff and there's no, you're not doing anything and this and that. I don't think that's true at all. And to be honest with you, I'm actually learning more about computer science from reviewing the code and looking at the code and having someone like Dan who has a lot of programming experience be like, okay, here's what Claude did. But like, and it's right, but like, it can be better, it can be more efficient, and it can be simpler. It's like doing 5 lines for something that really could be 1 line. Like, and he'll like explain the logic to me in a way where he's like, why are you doing all of this when this can just be a 1-liner? You can use a tertiary operator here or something.
So I'm just curious, when you got to the stage where Dan is helping you reviewing the code, and he says, okay, let's replace these 20 lines of code just 1, right? This is more efficient. You change it, but even Claude can go back and break it.
So there's a human intervention point here, right? So it's like we only use AI up until a certain point, and then from there it's like, okay, all the GitHub commits from this point onwards are going to be a human being. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to use Claude to make any edits here, because this is the part where it's time to be a person and a human and think and be like, okay, like, I'm making these edits, I'm being conscious of this, I'm cleaning it up. Not only that, it's important to Dan that for open source code, for other developers, he wants the code to be good and he wants it to be legible.
Developers and AI to learn from it?
Well, not only that, he wants it to be, more than anything else, is legible, so that if there is a bug or if there is something wrong, it's easy for a human being to read and fix, And as far as you're saying, like having AI copy something, or, we believe really strongly in open source software and sharing all of our things. All these platforms are open. A lot of the things that we've done over the years were built on the shoulders of open source projects, and that's our way of giving back to the community. And not only that, it also benefits us, because there's been really wonderful things happening in the MetaModule environment where users have not only suggested features on our forum, but some of them have gone out of their way, even with Claude, to make certain features that they then push a PR for, that Dan reviews as a human being, he doesn't use Claude to integrate it. He reviews it, and he's like, "This is
So
Dan, by the way.
Hi,
I've been talking about you.
Come in the middle of an interview.
Yeah, I've been referring to you as a visionary for the last 5 minutes."
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Again, with these open source conversations, Dan will then review the PR, and he'll be like, "Okay, this is good. This isn't breaking anything." You know what I mean? And really review it, talk to the person, tell them to make revisions or whatever, and then I test it. Dan tests it as well, but he's like, "Hey, you other human being, go take this upstairs and play with it and make sure it's not breaking our code." Because like it might be perfect on the computer, but there might be some weird ghost in the machine that we don't know about. So I don't think it's purely like, we're not fully automating things with Claude. It's just becoming another tool in our arsenal.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very, very powerful and incredible tool. And it's helped me massively, and I think it's helped the company massively. We haven't even gotten to this module, but it sounds fantastic. The starting point of the code is Claude, you know?
Yeah, right.
And then we went in there and optimized and everything. But for me, it's like, I view Claude as having a team. We've talked about this at the shop. It's like having a team of junior developers that are really eager to work for you. And maybe they're a little clumsy, maybe they make some mistakes, maybe they don't know everything. But it's great to have 30 junior engineers working for you.
Yeah.
We're seeing this a lot with the Meta module because it's an open source platform. And we're starting to see, like in the past few months, people want to make their dream instrument.
Right, exactly.
But they don't know any coding, they don't know how to solder, they don't know how analog circuit design, they don't know any of this stuff, and that's a huge obstacle. And they can't like pay somebody to make this for them, so they can type in, I want a 6-channel, and it needs to be, can you make knobs here, and I need a control for this, go, and it runs in VCV Rack.
Here you like have the building blocks,
and
you
then
just patch it all together into a single instrument.
And you can make it run on the computer and test it because Claude can figure out its own things on the computer. Then you can compile it for the Meta module, and the AI will compile it for you for the Meta module, and now you have your own plugin. And maybe it's not production, maybe it's not a professional software, but it's your personal instrument you designed for your workflow. Human-made code is also full of bugs and unoptimized things and crashing things too. So like we haven't solved that problem with AI, but we have, I think one of the things exciting for me is it's lowered the barriers to entry into developing your own products.
Things,
yes,
see if it works.
Prototyping personal projects.
If it makes fun playing music, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is like, these are musicians, I want to make things, but there's barriers because like I want octophonic, but it's so hard to do, or I want like this kind of thing, I have this sound in my head and I want to help make it.
Exactly.
But you have barriers because electronics and technology, but like this brings down the barriers. So we see a lot of blowback in software development from like kind of gatekeeping, being like, no, we're the club. Regular people can't come in and write code, that's not okay, because that's not going to be cool with our club. But we have to get past that because like regular people should be able to write code using tools, and we shouldn't all have to go to like typing in binary code just to get our ideas out.
We're talking about tools, right? And we're talking about making music technology. And it reminds me of something a mix engineer said a really long time ago when I was really young and really green behind the ears when I was learning about mixing. I was in this room with all this outboard gear and I was sitting in front of a Neve console and a Studer tape deck. I was in this beautiful acoustically tuned room. And I asked him, I was like, what do you think in this whole room is like the most important tool that you use? And he said, my brain and my ears. And it's like, that's, at the end of the day, it's like if you're following a human thing, and you're trying to make a thing for people and human beings, if you're using your brain and thinking about someone and your ears and it sounds good, all of the other things don't matter. Exactly. If your product works and achieves whatever you're trying to do, it's music, it's sound, it's completely subjective to begin with. So it's like,